Hello, this is another video in the series on how to set up breakout rooms in Google Meet using Google Meet Breakout Rooms Chrome extension. This portion is on how to create a student interface, and I'm going to share with you how I've created my interface and a little bit of how you can work with groups behind that. So I'll begin. Assuming that you already watched the showcase, so you've had a look at what it looks like from the student side and the teacher side, I want to remind you that there is a door. They click on the door, it takes them to their class. There is a class list, they select their name, and that takes them into the group. So this particular document, where it has a alphabetical class list with links to their groups, how to create this, and then how to manage the groups behind this so that you can change the groups and update this particular list. So that's the idea of this particular video. So I'm going to start off by saying that in a traditional classroom, when we were all live in the class, traditionally the students come into a main room, you deliver whole class instruction, and then you may have the students break into small groups or breakout rooms. But we'll think of these of them going into small groups, doing some activity, and then sharing back to the main room again. In other words, they enter the main room. So Google Meet, Zoom, all of these are set up under that model. They come straight into the main room, and then you send them into breakout rooms and you call them back into your main room. The model that I have been using has them go straight into the small groups. I want to emphasize the main reasoning for this is that it's much easier to manage. So early on, when we were having management issues in these large rooms, these small groups were easier to manage. So that's the first plus on it. The second plus is that you can have more student to teacher interaction. So you're more likely able to step into a small room and interact with an individual student in that small group. And then last, and hopefully, you will get students interacting in those small groups. If you need them to come to the whole class, as I showcased, there is a way to use this extension and have the students speaking to the entire class. So we want to think about them entering these small groups. So that's the first way to be thinking about this. So we're going to create first just a couple of different documents. First, we have to create a Google Doc for our class. This Google Doc will have the URLs to our different rooms. It'll also have our class lists so that we can have a place to paste our class list and then link them in and out of groups. Okay. We are going to create a Google slide that is that main interface, that is this list, which is a Google slide, which gives this nice look. And I'll kind of explain that I choose Google Slide because it can be more object oriented. That means that I can use objects as links. I can embed video and other media into this, and it allows for limited interaction. So when it's published as a presentation like this, it works much like a web page, but it's easier to access. So we're going to be creating that piece, and then if you wish also to have these doors, and I'll explain why I have doors and not just straight to the list. Okay, and then finally we're going to have that to link back to our classroom so that they can come to the classroom, click on this link, and go to their groups. So that's kind of the steps that I'm going to be leading through in this. Okay. So I'm going to start with this and say this is kind of a slide we're trying to create. I have an alphabetical list of students, and these students have been linked to their groups. So if they click on their name, it automatically launches Meet and takes them in. So we're going to be trying to create this document right here. So I made a flow chart, and I know it looks daunting, but as I go through the different steps, I want you to think that it's not that complicated. I know it's a few steps, but once you get this all set up, your interface will flow nicely, and you'll have control over grouping and other things within the extension. So we're going to create the following 3 documents. We have to have a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, which is where we can manage the students, group them, ungroup them, and then I'm going to ultimately want to put this in my slide. I'm going to remind you, you could have this in a doc, you could just publish the sheet. The only reason I choose slides is because I think it looks better for the students, but I want to remind you that you could use any one of these Google products published online in order to publish this alphabetical list of students that is linked. So I'm going to go through kind of the steps that I use to get to my final product, which is this listed link. Okay, so I have the steps set up here. First, I need to go to Synergy, and I need to get a class list that is my alphabetical list. I'm going to paste that into a document, and I'm going to also go to my extension and get the URLs for the rooms. I'm going to set up a sheet, a Google Sheet, and I'm going to paste my class list from Doc to the sheet. Now, I found I can't go from Synergy straight to the sheet because there are some formatting issues. So if I copy it first to the document and then to the sheet, I can get a class list in the cells. I then assign groups, and then I sort into those groups. I then select those sorted groups and paste them back into my doc so that I can assign the room to those groups. And then I go back and paste those linked names back into my sheet, and then I can sort back to alphabetical. So I will end up with an alphabetical list of linked student names. And then once I have this alphabetical list of linked names, I can then just paste that into my Google slide to publish that so it looks better. So I'm going to go through all of these steps really quickly for you in the next set of videos. Hello, and welcome to the next video in the series on how to use Google Meet breakout rooms, the Chrome extension. This set of videos is on how to create the user interface or the student interface for this. I already left off by focusing on this flow chart. Our ultimate goal is to create this slide, which is a Google slide that has an alphabetical or alphabetized student list with links directly to their rooms. So the steps to create that, although it seems like a lot, once you get this created up front, you don't have as much time managing it from behind. So I'm going to go through it step by step, and I'm going to create this particular slide that we're looking at. This particular slide. Okay, step by step. So the first step is I have to create my doc and my sheet. So before we start, you should create a class list. You can name it whatever you want. I tend to name things by the period, like period 1 class list. And I use the words class list because this reminds me where I get it when I go to Synergy. It's a class list report. You want to have the link to your main room and to any rooms that you're going to be grouping students into. So this is what you created in your Chrome extension, the rooms, and you're going to put the links here because it's beneficial, and I'll show you why. So you're going to first create this document. Then you're going to create a Google Sheet that is named the exact same thing, period, whatever, class list. And you're going to have, for now, a column for the names and a column where you're going to label them by their groups. And this is where we're going to manage the lists. We're going to manage not only the class list, but our groupings so that we can create this end result. So we're going to start with this. So in the flowchart, first thing is to go to Synergy and get a class list and copy it. So within Synergy, when you're here, you go up to Reports, PDF, it's down here, Class List. It will create the list in a separate tab. You select all the names. I'll do it here so you can see it. Click and drag. copy it. Then I go to my document, and again, this is the next step. Go to my document. I'm going to paste that list into the document. Now I want to paste without formatting. No formatting. If I paste with formatting, look what it looks like. That's not what I want. So if I paste without formatting, it gives me a nice alphabetical column of names. Next step is to paste the URLs. Now the URLs that I need, that I want to paste in here, are in my extension. So I go up, I launch my extension, I choose the course that I want, and then I select the name. So right now we're going to get the rooms. So I just select, I copy, go to here, select the text, go to link, paste, apply, toggle back to my breakout room, select, copy, select, link, paste, apply. Now my main room I can't get from my extension because it shortens it, so I need to go back to my classroom. It's there in the header, and I want to copy it. Not copy the address, but copy the actual piece of text. And same thing, select the word, go to link, paste, apply. So now I have links to however many rooms. This was just my example. I only have 2 rooms, but however many rooms you have. Now for the example here, I'm going to limit the number of students so we can work with a smaller group here. So once I've got that done, I have my doc, I have pasted my class list and my URLs. Now what I want to do is I want to paste that class list into my sheet. So I'm going to select my class list. I'm going to copy it, go to my sheet, go to the names, paste, and now I have a class list in here. Once I have a class list, now I group them. So I have a group column. So I only have 2 rooms for this example. You can have as many as you want. I'm going to keep saying that. But once you've decided and you group them, now I have them numbered by their groups, and I use that column to sort them. And now I have them sorted by their groups. Okay? So I've sorted into groups. Now I want to paste those sorted group lists into my document. So I select the group, I copy it, go to my tutorial, my class list document. Again, paste without formatting. Select my group 2, copy, come here, paste without formatting. So I have my 2 groups now in my doc. I've pasted the sorted list into my doc. Now I want to link those groups. So I'm going to link one group to room 1. So I select all of them, go to link, go to paste, apply. Room 2, copy, select them, link, paste, apply. Once I've done that, I join this list back together. I select the whole thing, copy the whole thing, and I come back to this and I select what was in here already. I delete it. Now I paste the newly linked. And so now I have a linked list in my sheet. So you can see it. I have now pasted the linked list. Now I want to sort it back to alphabetical. So remember, this is listed by the groups. So I go to this column, I sort that column, and now I have alphabetical list of names. So that leaves me right here. I sorted to alpha. So my last step is to paste that list into my slide, okay, into my Google slide. So if you haven't already set this up, I'm going to show you what we've been working with. So in the example, we have this slide, which I was working with. So we want to put we want to create this list here. So I will delete it and I will show you. So I take a text box, I draw a text box here, I go to my sheet, I select my names, copy, okay. I come back to my, oops, where is it? It's over here. And I paste, and it gives me the names like this. They have this new feature, resize to shape. I do not auto fit. Select all. In this case, I'll show you how I format it. I do a white highlighting. I stretch it out to 1.5 if I need to, if it looks better. Put it there. And I now have a class list in this. Because this is a published document, I want you to note that when I refresh this, now I have this new list like what I just created in that look. So this flow chart is, again, Synergy class list, paste it into your document along with your URLs. Create a sheet where you paste that class list so that you can group them and then sort those groups. You bring those sorted groups back into the doc so you can assign links. You take that set of linked students, you paste it back into the sheet so that you can resort it to alpha, and then you paste that into your Google slide and publish that online. Now you can use any one of those. You could just use the Google Doc and publish that for students. The reason why I prefer this is that it has a more personalized look. You can work with different elements to make it look a certain way. It allows you to embed other elements like video. If you want to just use this can simply be shared with the students. You can also publish this to the web with clickable links on it. If you have questions on how to do some of these particulars, please send me a particular question. Good luck working with this, and I hope to hear back from you.